Definitely not unanimous. Katie was definitely coming in with that head, charging a lot, gave her that cut. I didn't see it being unanimous. Katie was my pick, but she didn't win that fight. Yeah. Amanda definitely won the fight.
You think you could expose Jake Paul if you ever fought him?
Yeah, because I'm not worn out like Mike Tyson was tonight. You know, I picked Mike Tyson to win this fight, but he had no legs.
This one was a robbery where Amanda was more active, she landed more punches, but Alex, how do you feel about it?
It was a close fight. I hate throwing the word robbery around, but it was. I know you go for your Puerto Rican people.
I know. I'm trying not to be, bro. I'm trying.
Netflix crashed because they had 120 million something viewers today. MMA can't do that,
Yeah.
but boxing can.
Welcome to the Ring with the Parley with your hosts, Kendall Gill and Tilo, where they duke it out over the current events of the sweet science. Moderated by Mindy Bryant, with correspondent Alex Correa of the Squared Circle Report. Sponsored by 6040.
A longtime 15-year NBA veteran Kendall Gill and Alex Correa from Square Circle Report. We're here live at the Village Roadhouse in Skokie, Illinois, as we just finished watching the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson event in Dallas, Texas, along with the great undercard, Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor. It was an awesome night of boxing for the first three fights until we got to the main event, and we're here to talk about it. Alex, good to see you, my boy.
Yeah, same always, man. Thanks for having me. It's a great event. Love all the people out here. Shout out everyone. We're in Skokie, so everyone who came from the south side, appreciate you guys for taking the travels, man. You know how the Chicago traffic is, right, Kendall?
Yeah. Kendall was just on Chicago Sports Network, obviously covering the Bulls versus the Cavs in the in-season tournament. We appreciate you jetting over here right after the game.
No problem at all, man. Well, you know, I'm going to do everything for the parlay boxing. Of course, this is my first love, but I got to take care of basketball business first.
Obviously. You got to take care of number one. We understand here at the parlay. Well, we saw what happened. Obviously, we're going to talk about the main event first, and then, of course, we'll go over to Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor. A controversial decision, I guess you have to say at some point, but we'll talk about that in 1 second here. First of all, obviously, Mike Tyson, Jake Paul, an event that we were anticipating, an event that we thought, we had many predictions, I think, all of us. I don't think we got to what we wanted or even close to it, but really at the end of the day, Kendall, I'll what you You know, Father Time is a real thing, and, you know, it's 30 year age difference when it comes to it. But how do you feel about Mike Tyson's performance as he loses by unanimous decision?
I expected a different Mike Tyson. I expected the Mike Tyson that fought Roy Jones Jr. 4 years ago. When the walkout happened, I was looking at Mike Tyson and saw that he had a knee brace on. And I was like, man, he might be in trouble at that point because you need your legs to move. If you've ever boxed or anything like that, you need your legs. I thought that was the thing that Mike Tyson was missing in this fight. He just couldn't get to Jake Paul, couldn't cut the ring off, couldn't move towards him. And you saw every time Jake Paul connected, Mike Tyson's legs were kind of wobbly. So when a fighter's legs go, that's the end of it.
It is the end of it, you know, and Alex, I'll go to you. Like, I was looking at Jake Paul during this fight, and I felt like he was holding back. Was he holding back in your opinion?
Definitely, he was holding back. You know, like, he doesn't want to get crucified for beating up a 58-year-old man, you know, like, and a legend at that. You know, Mike's like loved throughout boxing, and he's trying to make his career in boxing, so he doesn't want to piss anyone off, you know, that bad. But before the fight, I was pretty hyped up. It brought me back to when Floyd fought his brother Logan. I wasn't too hyped up for it till it was the event. And then you see, they're like, man, this is a Mayweather fight. This is an event. This is kind of how I felt today. This was a Mike Tyson fight. Mike Tyson's back, you know, kind of brought me back from in the 90s, you know? Yeah. So I was kind of happy that it at least gave me that, you know, at the end of the day.
Well, you know what? One of the things we saw in the first two rounds, Mike came out strong. You saw little flashes of his quickness and his style. We've seen that style where he jumps up with the left hook and then goes jumps up with the jab and then the left hook. So it was a little bit of promise in the beginning of the fight, but then we saw him wearing down around 3 for 8.
Well, even after the first round, I saw that Mike Tyson had lost some of his energy, specifically in his legs. He just couldn't move around the ring. And Jake noticed that after the first round, he stopped moving so much. He started standing in the center of the ring, and he actually was walking towards Tyson, and Mike started moving around him. So that lets you know right there that, I knew the fight was over after the first round. And, the weight, all the weight that Jake Paul had gained, that I thought was going to be a disadvantage for him, it never came into play because Mike Tyson was never able to put pressure on Jake Paul. And I felt that if Mike Tyson put pressure on him for 3 or 4 rounds, Jake would get tired. Because Jake already has conditioning issues at 190 pounds. So that didn't come into play. I thought that Jake had 2 opponents in this fight, the weight and Mike Tyson, but neither one of them came into play.
Yeah, and Alex, one of the things we also saw too with the fight in itself was, Mike biting his glove. He mentioned it was a biting sensation.
Yeah.
I was trying to go back and date back and see, did he ever do that in a previous fight? I can't even remember.
I don't remember. The commentators were saying that I think Roy Jones that he used to do that. I don't remember him doing that, but maybe he saved Jake Paul's ears. Who knows?
Well, it was a fight that on paper looked really appealing. We all wanted to see something like this. Of course, Jake doesn't fight regular boxers on a regular basis. We know he's built his brand on fighting people that don't box. But, when it comes to what we saw today, I think what we got is kind of what was expected.
Yeah.
Jake outboxing. But really, what is next for Jake, Kendall? I know what we want, but what do you think is going to happen?
I think he's going to continue to fight fights like this, continue to fight MMA fighters. I think when he fights a real fight, much like he did Tommy Fury, he's going to lose. I still saw in his game today, a lot of mistakes he was making. I still saw him telegraphing a lot of his punches. He has the one combination, I call it the Canelo combination, where he goes down to the body and comes up over top. The same combination Canelo Alvarez knocked out Amir Khan with. He does it over and over and over again. He's predictable. The minute he gets in there with somebody that's his age, that's on his level or above, they're going to capitalize on that. I thought Mike Tyson could capitalize on that tonight, but he just couldn't. He couldn't pull the trigger anymore.
What do you think's next for Jake?
You know what? I got to give Jake props first off on the event he pulled off.
Yeah, the event, you got to give him props.
It was great. The gate, they made records. Yeah. The ring, the squared circle looked fantastic. All the screens, everything he had on it, it looked great. It was a packed house. And so he brings the money in. It was on Netflix, free for everyone, which got more eyeballs on it. So maybe other promoters will follow suit and kind of see what happens. But Jake Paul, his end game is Canelo. Like he wants Canelo, and I think Canelo's the way he's fighting now, it's going to happen in maybe 2 years or so. On Canelo's way out, that might be his last fight. Just to grab that last money at the end and send Jake Paul home with his money, and we won't see him again.
I highly suggest Jake Paul stays away from Canelo from a physical standpoint. But if you want to make that money, cool.
Yeah.
But what do you think about a fight with Jake Paul Canelo?
I think Canelo obliterates him because Canelo is one of the best fighters in the world. Still, and in 2 years, if that fight happens, Canelo will still be, I believe, 35. So he'll still be in his prime. I'm hoping it happens now. I know Jake has been chasing him for a long time, and Canelo has kind of, played it off. But Canelo has business. He's got to fight Benavidez. Yeah. He may have a rematch with Bivol. Then once that's over, now Jake is viable because he packed Cowboy Stadium.
Oh yeah.
He made $30 million. Anybody?
But with Mike Tyson. Let's remember that.
But Canelo pulls them in too. Right. I think if they do a fight in Cowboy Stadium, that they pack the house again, and the pay-per-view will be crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. Well, you know what? The other fight that happened today was Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor. Another action-packed fight full of drama. Katie getting cut with headbutts in, I think, 4th or 5th round. Yeah. And She loses by unanimous decision in that
that's-
fight. Has boxing fans, most boxing fans, questioning the judges once again. What do you think happened in this fight?
Well, I was watching the fight on my iPad while I was driving, so I was glancing down and looking up. So, but from what I saw, I thought it was a great fight. I thought that Katie Taylor was leading with her head a little bit. Amanda, you got to give her props for fighting through that cut. That was a horrific cut, and
Big guns,
yeah. But listen, this sets up a third fight for the two of them. When I go back and watch it, as I watched it in the car, I had it a draw, but I couldn't watch the whole fight because I was driving.
Right.
So, but you guys say that it was a robbery.
For sure. I mean, I feel like it was this one was a robbery. Where Amanda was more active, she landed more punches. But Alex, how do you feel about it?
It was a close fight. I hate throwing the word robbery around, but it was. I know you go for your Puerto Rican people.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying not to be, bro. I'm trying.
No, but Katie Taylor was going in with her head like way too much. They deducted a point. I think with the point deduction, it was Serrano had enough to win the fight, but it went to Katie Taylor. I mean, the trilogy it is. They both made a lot of money. Record I think they made each like $6 and $5 million a piece.
Yeah.
So why not run it back? You know. So
as long as that cash register is working, you keep running it back.
Yo, Amanda smiles after every one of these fights, and we know why.
She does.
I know it sucks for fans, but for her, even though she wants legacy, I'm sure she's still happy the money's coming into the bank, especially for women in boxing. That's one of the biggest things women are advocating for is making more money, and they're doing it.
No, that's true, especially when you have events like this, especially when you have fights like Amanda and Katie put on. We're going to be interested. More eyes are going to come to the sport of women's boxing. They've had two epic fights, 2 fights of the year, and I believe we're going to see a third one.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, Alex, we appreciate you being on the show today. As always, let them know where they can find you at, Mr. Good Sir.
Squared Circle Report on Instagram and Squared Circle Report Official on YouTube. That is the new channel, so make sure you guys follow that.
All right, thank you so much.
Right.
Big dog, as always, you're always with us, man, on the big events. We appreciate that.
Sounds good, man.
I'm going to have Laro come on over real quick to switch up, and Z from Chicago Fight Net comes up, and me and KG real quick as they make that switch. KG, boxing is at a point where right now where, like, it's one thing where the casual fans really still are not engaged in boxing, but stuff like this, we're going to Netflix, Jake Paul not putting on, the fights that we purists want to see.
Right.
But does this help the sport of boxing?
It has, because everybody was talking to me about this fight. People in the office were talking to me about this fight. Friends were talking to me about this fight, texting me who wins, this and that. So when people say boxing is dead, that's totally untrue. Because when you have 2 personalities that you can put together and the whole country is talking about it. Netflix crashed because they had 120 million something viewers today. MMA can't do that, but boxing can. Yeah. So this is great for boxing.
Yeah, that's great for boxing. And, one of the things that we want to see, I think in 2025, is a little bit more exposure for the sport. We always want that for the sport in itself. Yes, but I really do think that, even though Jake Paul can be annoying to the purists, he still puts boxing at the forefront. The undercards were great. Mario's fighting tonight. I mean, the undercards are still there. Yeah. He has actual talent in the sport of boxing coming on his events. We just want to see him fight a real boxer, but I think he's doing a good for the sport more than bad.
He's doing good for the sport. Can't knock his hustle. You see where this guy started off. Now he's selling out Dallas Cowboys Stadium. So you got to give him credit for bringing more eyes to the sport. But I think that the only way that he keeps this going is if he has fights like this.
Yeah.
Because the minute he fights a real guy, this whole thing is over.
Yeah, it may have to be where he fights non-boxers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why he'll keep it going.
Making that money.
Yeah, he'll keep it going.
Well, we'll see what happens here. Our next guest here is from Chicago, from Fight Night Chicago. He puts plugs all the watch parties in the city. Came on the podcast 2 episodes ago. Mr. Z himself from Chicago Fight Night. We appreciate you being here with us.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
He made some good predictions today and feels high and mighty right now.
I did.
But we're going to talk about it right now. We're talking obviously Mike Tyson and Jake Paul first.
Of course.
We just talked about how, in regards to Tyson himself and Jake Paul, a fight that we almost seen this coming.
Right.
But really, Father Time is, I think, the story.
Of course.
Is that right?
Yeah, of course. After the second round, he was kind of winded. He was trying to keep hope and not get knocked out.
Yeah.
Because he was Mike Tyson, so he didn't want to get knocked out.
Yeah.
But he kept his win. He did good still. To be 58, still lasted, still did pretty good. So
Yeah.
I think he's still pretty good. It was still a big selling fight, and I think he did pretty good still.
Yeah, you know, I thought that in the first round he did well, but in the second round I could see the same thing that you saw. You see the energy level came down, and most importantly, you know, it was his legs.
Yeah.
He could not move. He could not get to Jake Paul like he tried to get to him in the first round, and every time he got hit, you could see his legs were shaky.
And Jake kept his distance
And
too.
Jake kept his distance. He would not get close to him. And Jake even said it on the post-fight press conference that he didn't want to get close because he felt like he would get caught. Smart game plan, smart fight by Jake Paul.
You know, the other thing we talked about besides that is the biting sensation that Mike talked about. We talked about off the air a little bit about that. We talked about, we never heard about that, right?
Yeah, I never heard about that at all. It was weird to see because he kept doing it, and it was even leaving him open, and Jake was getting those good jabs in and leaving him open. I'm not sure if it was the mouthpiece, it was the glove not fitting right, because I know they went 14 ounce instead of 10. I'm not sure if it was the glove or the mouthpiece, but it was weird to see. I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, you know, me and Kendall were talking a little bit earlier about how, you know, Jake puts on these events in the boxing world, and people are watching in the boxing world. But not only the purists, it's the casuals are coming in. Should Jake continue to do this and not fight a real boxer for the sport of boxing, or how do you think he should go about it?
He's a businessman. I was telling Tilo off the air, Instagram blocked me from posting stuff because I tagged so many people showing this fight. Over 70 bars are showing this fight in Chicagoland area, northwest suburbs, and they blocked me from posting. So him selling out these fights and doing this is a smart move for him because he's making money. He's a smart businessman. So if it's doing right for him and putting money in his pocket and other people's pockets, keep doing it. But if you want to be a real boxer, then fight a real boxer with a good record. I would say do that too.
Yeah, but as long as he keeps getting paydays like this, that's not going to happen.
Exactly, yeah.
He's gonna keep fighting guys from the MMA world, from older fighters.
Yes.
I tell you what, here's an interesting fight. Carl Froch. Carl Froch, I saw him on social media saying that he would fight Jake Paul.
I seen that too.
Carl Froch has been retired for a number of years. I don't know. I still think Carl Froch, because he's not 58. Carl Froch is now 40, 42. Okay? And I think Jake Paul loses to Carl Froch.
I seen Andre Ward say he might end up doing something like that too in the future. Andre Ward still look pretty good too.
Jake Paul don't want none of Andre Ward. He need to stop that nonsense. That's crazy.
Yeah. So if he is going to continue to fights like this, okay, go to those guys next. But I think that his team will think that's too dangerous.
Of course, yeah, I could see him maybe doing that, but I would love to see him get in the ring with like a Teofimo, Devin Haney, one of those guys. He's not ready for Canelo yet on my end. He's calling him out, but he's not ready for him yet. That's not the fight he wants.
No, that's right. And at this point, he's probably too big for those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Jake Paul, you know, we got to ask you, Kendall, because, you know, you saw him and you were making some comments during the fight about his open spots and areas where he can still be defeated. You think you could expose Jake Paul if you ever fought him?
Yeah, because I'm not worn out like Mike Tyson was tonight. You know, I picked Mike Tyson to win this fight, but he had no legs. That's the thing you got to have if you box. You got to have legs. I still got legs. You know, you got to be able to move. You got to be able to move in and out. I still got all my reflexes. I haven't been in the wars that Mike Tyson is in. And I know people say, well, you 2 years younger than Mike Tyson. Yeah, but I'm a different 56.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? I don't have wear and tear on me like that.
I don't think you've ever want to eat people's children either.
No, or bite their ears.
You know, the other fight we talked about is Amanda Serrano and, you know, Katie Taylor. I mentioned the word robbery because I felt like Amanda was there, was more consistent, was more active. That blood really, I think, had a hold on the judges. And for a unanimous decision to be called in a fight like this, I don't know about that being the case. Well, how do you feel about the fight?
Definitely not unanimous. Katie was definitely coming in with that head, charging a lot, gave her that cut. I didn't see it being unanimous. Katie was my pick, but she didn't win that fight. Yeah. Amanda definitely won the fight. Katie maybe had about a good 3 rounds. She maybe won, maybe 4. But Amanda was definitely the better fighter, and she should have came out on top. That was a robbery for sure.
So the word robbery, Alex said robbery is kind of thrown out there loosely, but you know, when it comes to those type of fights, and women fights, it's only 2-minute rounds, so you only have so much to go off of. But the fact that, you know, Amanda did land more, did throw more, but did land more, it almost felt like she was in command, even with an eye that was cut.
Exactly.
You know, third fight, is it going to happen?
Yes. I was talking to Kendall about it. We were just talking about it. I think they fight again in the trilogy. I think Amanda retires. I think she's, 38? Yeah. She may can fight more, but I think after the trilogy, if she wins this, she may can just retire, being one of the best women fighters out, for sure.
Well, you know, this is a great event. Obviously, I think it was a great job. You know, I would like to see something like this again from Jake Paul, even if it wasn't a real boxer, to be honest with you. This is something that people look at the sport of boxing, and although the results may not be what they want, I think they still are willing to watch this just to see Jake lose. And as non-purist as that sounds, I still think it's good for the sport of boxing.
No, and look, a lot of people showed up to watch Muhammad Ali lose. You know, we're all waiting for Jake Paul to lose again. He already lost once, but people pay money to see the end of him. And and that's why he won't take fights that endanger this, because they want to keep this thing going as long as they can.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, real quick before we dismiss ourselves here, what's the one thing you want to see in 2025 in boxing? What's the one fight you want to see, or just thing that you want to see in boxing?
Me personally, I want to see the Devin Haney-Garcia rematch. I want to see that. I think that'd be the bigger fight of the year. I think that'll be the one I want to see for sure.
Okay. That's a good one. That is definitely one of the most anticipated fights in boxing right now. What about you, KG?
I want to see Gervonta Tank Davis against Shakur Stevenson.
Yes.
I want to see Gervonta Tank.
You want to see it, but you was talking smack about it?
You was. I saw that one.
You said you didn't want to see that?
You said Shakur don't throw punches.
No, I want to see it.
Okay.
I want to see Gervonta Tank Davis against Vasily Lomachenko.
I would love to see that.
I want to see that one. And I want to see Gervonta Tank Davis against Teofimo Lopez.
Okay.
If we can get any one of those 3 fights, that's what I want to see.
All right, well, I'll sandwich this sucker and just tell you, Canelo, por la tercera vez, por favor. Ya tú sabes que te quiero ver con Benavides. Make it happen. It's the #1 fight I think boxing needs. It'll be a fire fight. It'll be Mexico versus Mexico, and it will be, like Triple G used to say, Mexican style.
Yeah,
that was a good one.
You know? So it's going to be awesome. We hope in 2025 we see the fights that we see. We want to thank Village Roadhouse, obviously, for having us. Thank you so much for supporting what we do here, the Parley Podcast, Boxing Podcast. And also, too, I want to give it up for my students who are in the building right now. Make some noise. And former students as well for supporting, coming out. We always appreciate that as well. And finally, by SafeLift. SafeLift and Coda Gear, and finally Glory Wash Pro. All of our sponsors who sponsored the show today. The Square Circle Report, Chicago Fight Night, Chicago. We want to thank you all for being part of this live podcast as always. We want to bring boxing to the forefront, and we want people to know that in Chicago, we love boxing, and a lot of things are coming in 2025 for the Parley and boxing itself. Kendall Gill, thanks for rushing over here from the studio.
Thank you, man.
Z from Fight Night Chicago, thanks for being here as well.
Of course.
Big thanks to Z for making this happen. This is the reason why we're here, honestly. Z, you made that relationship happen.
Anytime. I look forward to more fights coming ahead.
We appreciate it. This is Tilo, Kendall Gill, and Z for the Parley. We hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you so much.
That's a wrap!
What's up, guys? Tilo here for the Parley. 15-year NBA veteran Kendall Gill there.
Sir.
Don't forget to subscribe to everything you see there in the description box. We want to hear from you guys. And, of course, hit that bell for the notifications. Like that, you know what's going on.
Hit it.
By the way, just want to make sure you know, Tyson Fury has never lost a fight to Deontay Wilder.
And this is untrue. He lost the first fight.
I don't even want to hear it, bro.
He lost the first fight.
I don't even want to hear it, bro.
He lost the first one.
He did it, bro.
He lost the first one.
He did it, bro.
You have yet to watch that fight with me. He lost the last two, but not the first.